Hi, everyone. Welcome to this very special edition of The Defense Never Rest. I'm Megan with Melissa.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. Today is different and special because we are at the Claims Exchange Conference in Philly. And we did something similar last year at another conference, and it just worked so well to have this podcast booth and pull people in for shorter little episodes and just get like a lot of different guests at once. So I'm really excited to do it again today.
And it's fun because you never know who you're going to talk to.
Right.
Like we don't know anybody who's going to be coming on the show today. It's all just folks who are attending the conference. So it's going to be interesting to just figure out their stories and what they're doing and how they got there, because strangers always have the best stories.
Yeah. And like they don't totally expect us to be here. So they're not like planning to sit down for a podcast. And I kind of like to keep it authentic and, keep it easy and simple and and just have just conversations. So let's get started.
Welcome to The Defense Never Rests with Morgan Akins, your monthly dose of uncommon sense about all things legal and some that are not.
Good afternoon, Faith. Thank you for joining Melissa and I today on The Defense Never Rests. We are live from the Claims Exchange Conference in Philly, and I'm so happy to have you. We're pulling people in for this podcast.
I felt pulled in.
Yeah, I know we forced you to come sit over here, but I promise it'll be a good time.
I'm a little nervous. I'm scared.
Don't be. Don't be.
They're smiling. I'm still scared.
So, we on this podcast we talk a lot about claims. Obviously, people on who work in claims. We have attorneys who are defense attorneys. Okay. So, claims is the name of our game. And you, I believe, work at Comcast in workers' comp claims.
Yes, I am the director of workers' compensation claims for Comcast NBC Universal. So that is any employee who's injured, from a janitor all the way to our highest paid talent, that those claims come into my team.
So, and I ask this a lot. I pretty much ask every single guest this.
So I'm not special?
You are special, but not with this question. But because I find this so interesting. How did you end up in claims? Because I'm sure you didn't say, Mommy, I want to be the director of workers' compensation claims.
Absolutely. I woke up and said that to my mom. No. So I think most of the people who probably have said that they've fallen into insurance, that's just kind of the name of the game. Or at least it was when I was coming into the insurance industry. I think now we've got a better pipeline from school. There's a lot of REMIS programs or REMS programs in colleges, and even some high schools I think are working on programs. But for me, as I was growing up, I wanted to be the black female Perry Mason. So I know that is dating me if anyone remembers that television show. It was a black and white TV show, and I would watch it every evening and say, oh my God, that's going to be me. I think it helped that my last name was also Mason, so I just felt kinship with Perry. And I think at the time I also liked arguing, so I was like, this is going to be the perfect thing for me. And I ended up going to St. Joe's University, majoring in criminal justice, which is a pipeline to be an attorney. And midway through my years there, they decided to get rid of a 5-year program, so I wouldn't graduate with a master's. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I was actually at the time working as a directory assistance operator, and that is back in the day when you would dial 411 on your phone and you'd actually get a person. I was that person, and in our break room we had 2 insurance posters, and one of them was for health insurance and one of them for workers' comp insurance, so Aetna and Liberty Mutual. Applied to both companies, knew nothing about insurance, got both jobs, and I said, which one of these places is going to pay me more? Liberty Mutual was paying more, so that's where I went, and I've been in the industry ever since. I had an amazing manager who I thought she was spectacular, Teresa Kiernan, if anyone knows her out there, and I was just enamored with her. I thought that she was so smart. I thought that she just knew everything. I loved how she composed herself, how she handled herself in the industry, and I just was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
Well, first of all, I can't believe they pulled the program while you were in it.
That's what we said. It was a group of us, and we kind of went to the school and said, what the hell? And they said, so what? Keep paying us tuition.
Now, are you overseeing claims in
Everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where are your territories?
Everywhere.
Are you in all 50 states?
And
everywhere.
international.
And internationally. So you're and you're overseeing all of the claims, right?
So I oversee the whole department. It's split into 4 different areas or pockets, we'll call it. So cable has 3 different divisions: Northeast, Central, West, and then there is production and theme parks. So all of that falls under my purview. There are different people kind of managing each of those buckets, but that's the whole shebang.
What theme parks?
Universal Orlando.
Wow.
And Universal
Oh, right. It is.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Okay. So you must see some interesting claims then, just in general. So many different areas.
Claims are always interesting. I think right now, because most of all of our programs are fully functioning, right? So production's going live because it's the fall season. Theme parks are into Grinchmas and in Halloween Horror Nights and rolling into Grinchmas. So that ends our year. And then cable's running wild because students are back in school and we've got startups and all that kind of stuff. So the whole program's running full force in the fourth quarter. And you see all kinds of claims. Like right now, theme park wise, we're going to see tons of our scare actors get into altercations.
With
what
guests?
does that? No, guests getting in altercations with our scare actors.
Right,
not
right.
ours.
That's what I was going to say, though.
People who work for us
right.
are amazing, so they would never do that.
No. But I was going to say, but
guests,
Yeah, the wild card.
they came there to get scared and then end up punching Chucky.
that's what I was going to say. Because there's signs usually in right?
Yes,
It says,
that
like,
say,
don't
"Don't
assault
touch-"
our guests. Like, right?
I feel like you signed up for this
You
activity.
did.
Yeah,
You did.
And
So
a lot
when-
of times you decide, like, I don't know how it works at Universal, but you wear like the color if you want to be
Right.
engrossed in the experience or you want to be hands off, and you can
Exactly.
make the choice.
And I mean, if you're going through a maze and it's dark and something or someone pops out of a door, that's to be expected. We don't.
Which is why you paid to be there, going through this scary,
Hello.
haunted, jumping thing.
Hello. There's no reason to go all WWE on Chucky, so let's not do that. And we also have cameras.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can share, but are there any claims that you've had that stand out in your mind as some that are maybe one of the
Not-
more interesting ones you've had?
So the Chucky one wasn't enough. Though that's a real live claim. We've had some very interesting things happen on set. I mean, stunt actors for
Yeah.
any of our productions that get thrown through glass, and then now we've got whole shoulders that we need to replace, or people that are on blown up cars.
I guess I didn't even think about that whole aspect
Anything you can
of
think of is
Comcast Universal. Like, I didn't even think about the production aspect.
absolutely. It's not just our cable technicians who have some really gnarly accidents, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to downplay some of the things that happen to folks. And on the cable side, it can be, we're dealing with car accidents or people who are just being chased by bees. So there's a whole gambit of things that our teams are dealing with from day to day.
Yeah. So, and in your time, have you seen how have things evolved with the claims that you've seen?
I think the evolution of claims is interesting question, because what I think I've noticed is them getting better, and better not in that people aren't having accidents, but our safety programs are really, really good, whether we're going from the theme park all the way up to our live theater for Wicked, or to the cable technicians, just our EHS professionals going out there and making sure that people know what they're supposed to do, right? They're wearing their harnesses.
Yeah.
They're wearing whatever safety goggles they need to wear. They're wearing whatever equipment because they're flying through the air or through a stage. So we've seen definitely a decline because of the trends that we've noticed on the claim side, and being able to share that with our safety professionals.
Yeah. And you must have to deal with, I mean,
But I can tell you this.
Okay.
Industry-wide, tons of TBI. Tons of traumatic brain injuries kind of
Why
popping
is
out
that?
of nowhere.
Do you think, what do you think is starting the trend of that?
Well, I think some of it is social media driven. I think some of it is just the sign of the times. So a lot of people into like sports and entertainment, where they see the CTE injuries with the folks over in sports and stuff. And that kind of trickles into the world that we're living in too. So we do have people in hard hats and things of that nature. So, a fall from height, maybe it started as a back injury, but now they're like, well, they did kind of hit their head. So we think maybe it's a traumatic brain injury. This person can't come back. So we have definitely seen an uptick in that. And we've got to deal with it on our end. Very interesting stuff if people want to get into the nuts and bolts of TPIs.
Now, in your role too, and being nationwide, you have to, work with counsel nationwide. Okay?
I'm not going to say anything bad about lawyers.
Thank you. We don't get that often. Usually it's only bad.
You guys are wonderful. Redliners.
Well, but I am curious if, and this is might make you say something bad about lawyers, but are there any tactics that you really dislike when you see with your partnering counsel, or counsel that you're like, I'm not partnering with you anymore?
I think the attorneys that we partner with do a really good job of really understanding our program. I can only speak for the bad guys on the other side of the other side of the token. And I think because we are such a large company, we look like the place for deep pockets. So right, they want to constantly bring out we don't care about our employees and things like that. So you see a lot of that in sort of the defense, and even on the workers' comp side, you see it, them pulling in, was this a safety violation? Are they not taking care of their employees? And we have a very employee advocacy based model for all of our claim staff. So that's really not the case for us, but that is what we see out there in the lawyering world. See, I wasn't going to throw our dedicated partners under the bus. They do a good job. They're a little wordy.
We do hear that a lot. The long, I hear that is a very universal complaint, is the very long report.
So
bearing the lead.
Gotta get everything.
No, I was like, they're charging us by the letter, and they're writing all of these things that could essentially say the person showed up for court, right? But they've got this long paragraph about telling me
Could have been an email.
Could have been an email, exactly. So what we've done actually on our side is sort of trimmed it down and created a template for them and say, hey, you've got 4 or 5 sentences to give us the meat and potatoes. We don't need all that fluff.
Yeah.
But I love you guys.
As an attorney, though, I have to say, I love that because I don't have time either to write novels for each report. And I know that my clients don't want that.
I don't.
So I love when a client says, just give me what I need, because then it makes my life easier, it makes my client's life easier, and I feel like it's better for the case. You're not wasting money and time and writing and rewriting the same report over and over.
It absolutely is. So think about myself, right? I'm over top of this large program. So I'm looking at things that are coming in from my direct reports, as well as things that are going to all of our adjusting staff, hundreds of people across the country. I don't need 300 pages from you and 300 pages from all the attorneys that we're dealing with. In addition to the adjusters, right? They've got a workload, 150, 200 cases, God only knows. And they don't have time to read all of that either. They really just need to know, what do you want me to do?
Right. Brevity is best, and get to the point.
Yes. Get to the point.
I know, and I think some attorneys just sometimes can't get out of their own way. They feel like we need to say more. I don't know why.
I don't know. You earn your stripes and closures for me. It's like, hey, did you close that one? Did you save us money?
Right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, so knowing what you know now, looking back on your career and your progression, what advice would you give your younger self?
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Marry into money.
One of those things, right? No. I've loved my career. It's been able to make me like a jack of all trades, a master of none. I get to dabble in all different kinds of things. I think what I would tell my younger self would be, get into networking sooner. I think that when I first started out in the business, I just thought, keep your nose down, understand every single little thing about your job, and that's going to take you far in life. And that's not to say don't be good at your job and not to know your job, but this is a relationship business. Yep. So it is very good to, polish up those social skills and get out there and talk to people. And you never know where that's going to take you because, it's a very people-oriented business.
It is.
So that would probably be the best advice I can give my younger self or anyone entering the business, honestly.
That's great. That's great advice. That's advice I would give myself, my own self as well, because I don't think I networked enough.
I was terrible.
And I didn't understand. I was like, I had this friend who, every job was a networking opportunity for her. And I was
don't understand those people.
God, why is she so serious? And now she's she has built herself, and she worked for a very well-known large streaming service.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's because she worked to build up her network. But it's never too late to start.
It isn't.
Yeah.
You can jump into the networking of it all at any age. And it's going to take you far. Not saying that being good and competent at your job is not going to take you far, but you need that extra edge if you're trying to be somebody's executive director, somebody's VP. They're going to notice you more because you know some other people. And that's going to be the question that everyone's going to ask you in this industry. Well, do you know blah, blah, blah? And you're going to be like, no, but I know claims in Connecticut, and that's not going to get you anywhere.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down and, joining us.
Thank you for stripping me up and just grabbing me in.
Yes. And tell your friends and anyone you sit next to come over and talk to us today. It's not a bad experience.
It wasn't. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Good. That's what we like to hear.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.